My name is Gary Cruz, and I'm the Student Activities Director and Peer Resources Coordinator at John O'Connell High School in the Mission District in San Francisco. I teach 2 peer resources classes, and one of those classes is a youth-led research class.
Peer resources basically is like students trying to help the school improve.
We do conflict mediation, mentoring.
One day Mr. Cruz came in and he had some statistics from the district, how O'Connell is ranked. We were ranked like the lowest of all the schools in the district.
Many of the students come to the school with issues that are beyond academics, so we have to kind of work around that.
We have a lot of students failing classes.
So on the one hand, we have these students who really want to go to college, or at least say they do. And on the other hand, for some reason, the performance in the classroom and the things that they need to do to get there, they weren't accomplishing those steps. They've decided to focus their energy on how can we improve the learning in the classroom.
So from there, we did a lot of research. We did surveys for staff and students. We conducted interviews on staff. We looked into the observations where we got a chance to sit in the classroom and observe a teacher and then let them know what they're doing well. That's how we created the best practices.
My students decided to create a best practices club modeled after the best practices club at a high school in Lexington, Massachusetts.
So with the observation process, first we do the pre-observation conference.
They wanted to know what I wanted them to look for. Then they kind of gave me some feedback of what they may want to look for also.
We taught them how to kind of approach the person and then how to present themselves as well.
Basically, we meet with them, ask them questions about what's going on with the class, what they're going to do that day.
I told them what they were going to come in and see.
If a teacher asks us for a certain thing they want us to observe, then we have to do that. And if there's anything else, then it's just like kind of like a side note.
They asked me specifically, they're like, what do you want me to look for? And they even gave me some cues because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted them to look for.
Are there any issues of equity you'd like us to consider as look for best practices?
I have one freshman student who can tend to check out and not participate. So if you guys could look to see if I motivate her.
They asked really good questions. They're very professional, and I really felt like I wasn't talking to a student. I was talking to almost like a peer.
From there, they get to sit in the classroom and do the observation. We observed his honors class.
They did the observation, and that was for a whole period.
That's pretty fun, like observing the teachers. Like you get to see what their lesson is.
I was kind of more engaged on the lesson, but then I still kept in mind what he wanted us to observe.
So this is one of the main reasons why we have them go in groups of 3. So that in case one student missed something that another student was able to capture in their notes.
It was nice to see how the students were engaged in the lesson.
I think the students got something out of it because they were part of a process they usually aren't.
I think it went well because we didn't disturb the class.
To me, it felt like they were just part of the class. And at certain points, I even forgot they were there.
And then they'll put their notes together. They'll get, I believe it'll be the best 5 and highlight those.
They select 5 pieces of evidence that speak to what the teacher asked them to look for.
After that, we do the post observations, tell them what went good, what we've seen, what they were asking for.
This is what you're doing well, you should keep it up, and not actually put them down or judge them at all. I felt like what I had to say about how the teacher's teaching actually matters. I
have to vary my teaching methods to help all the students, give them the opportunity they need to gain the academics that are expected of them.
It showed me that teachers do care about what we have to say to them. Not just like what other co-workers have to say about their teaching, but also their students. For example, I may have a student that would prefer to have hands-on, manipulatives, standing up and trying to learn the math. I have other students that are more listeners. I have to look at all the different styles and I have to provide for everybody.
I need to know that the students get it and that the students know why I'm doing it, or at least that it's having some effect.
They really felt that I really cared about what I was doing.
They're very generous and nice with what they had to say.
That made me feel really good because here I'm hearing it from a student's viewpoint that I was doing my job and I was doing it the best that I could. So that was fabulous.
I was so honored to be in this project that I saw a different perspective on teachers.
Once you see how they really prepare, you take more consideration about how they do it and that they really take their time.
I want this experience to be like for everybody to know, like, hey, they're not just your teacher, they're your friends too, and there's more to them than just their credential.
And it's kind of like good to hear from them that they're actually thanking us for helping our school to be better.
We are doing something for the whole school, not just for me, so I have to keep in mind not just my opinions, but everybody else's. And I feel more mature, and I think that it helps me grow as a person.